everyone, how's it going? Matthew Bailey Media here, and welcome to another 2025 movie review. And this time it is going to be on a movie that honestly, I knew I was probably not gonna like this once I saw it, and you know which one I'm referring to. But in case you haven't seen the title, I'll say it anyway. This is my review on the live action adaptation of Disney's Snow White. Yeah, so let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way, shall we? The main reason why I think a lot of people are hating this movie, and me included, was mainly because of what Rachel Zegler, the main star, kept saying about the original Snow White, and how and she said things that about the original that were kind of offensive to a lot of fans of that original film, like how the prince was a stalker and she's not dreaming about true love, and how she's dreaming about becoming a fearsome leader and all that sort of stuff, even though that's not what the original or the Grimm's fairy tale was based on anyway. And she was saying all this stuff, and then when last year's election happened, she basically said the worst thing she could possibly say. I mean, I know there are some people that I know that know about me that I chat with online that probably are gonna. Again, you don't have to agree with me on this, but I know there are some people who don't like Trump, President Trump, like I do, because I am a Republican. But one thing that Rachel Zegler said that I think is the worst thing you could say, even if you don't like Trump, you should never say this if you're trying to promote a movie, and that's saying that she hoped all Trump supporters never knew peace or whatever, and that was over half the country, and so basically that caused the movie to flop badly. I just watched a little video talking about the numbers as of me recording this. It's Sunday, and they have concluded that the movie only made $43 million domestically. Heck, it only made $44 million internationally, meaning it made around $87 million, where it was projected to originally gross $100 million worldwide, but it didn't do that, unfortunately. So, but aside from the whole Rachel Zegler controversy, another big thing that was pretty controversial was the whole thing with the dwarves in the movie. See, this is the one movie where I feel like a lot of dwarf actors or people who were short that look like they could be playing dwarves, this is the one movie that they could have easily gotten the opportunity to play one of the seven dwarves and actually look as much like the original character as they could. I mean, heck, they could. I know some of them could even put on like little fat suits or whatever when they did it, just so they could look like the characters and not be CGI, which unfortunately is what this movie ended up doing. They ended up making the dwarves CGI. Heck, they didn't even call them dwarves in the movies. They made them these magical creatures or whatever, and how they're over 200 some years old, and it was like, okay, that just does not make any sense, because that's not what the Grimm's fairy tale said, or even the original film. Now, I will admit, the one thing I did think was okay about this movie, even though I hate the girl, Rachel Zegler did have a decent singing voice. I will admit that. And even some of the songs from the original still hit on pretty well with me. But some of the newer songs that they introduced, like even the Queen got a song in this movie, I gotta say, I was not a fan of some of the newer songs. And again, heck, the prince himself wasn't even a prince in this movie. He was just a random thief from the kingdom, and again, there were a lot of moments from the original that were featured in the movie. But one thing that I think, again, I'm just gonna say slight spoiler warning for anyone who doesn't want to listen to spoilers, but this movie the way they killed the evil queen in this movie was not the way they did it in the original, because technically the seven dwarves had a hand in killing the queen, and she was still in the old lady form when it happened. Like, I feel like they should have just done that version of an ending in this live action remake, and I guarantee a lot of people would have liked it a little more. But again, they probably would have if it hadn't been for the unfortunate comments of the star Rachel Zegler, and how she basically threatened everybody who voted for our former president, and she was saying a bunch of insensitive, bad things about the original. When again, if you're adapting an original animated Disney movie, you should not be bashing the original. You should be trying your best to make it as close to the original as possible. You can add maybe a few things, but not something that is considered, in my day and age, woke. Yeah, because that's really what this movie did. They were pushing an agenda to make Snow White this fearsome leader, trying to rally her people against the evil queen, and becoming becoming a fearsome leader, when in the movie, or in the original movie, she was just focusing on true love. She wanted to have love for herself and her kingdom. So they still did that, but to me, it's not because she wanted to be a fearsome leader. She just wanted to find love. True love, which is what both the Grimm's Fairy Tale and the original movie did. But for some reason, they made this movie like this like female leader suppression thing, and I guess is the best way I can put it. And honestly, I'm just so glad that this movie actually ended up bombing at the box office, and I'm probably not even going to see it. Heck, I guarantee you that I'm just going to make a wild accusation here right now. I have a feeling that this movie will do worse than the only other Disney live-action remake that's come out over the last 10 years that didn't do a good job, to me, was Dumbo in 2019, and that movie only made like $300-some million. I feel like it's going to do worse than that. Heck, I wouldn't even be surprised if this movie did worse than The Marvels, which barely made $200 million at the box office. So, but anyways, let me give you my rating of the movie. So, for my rating of Snow White, like I said, I was not a fan of it. Again, mainly because of the whole controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler, what she said to people like me, and the whole fact that the dwarves weren't actually played by dwarf actors, which is the best opportunity for them to get roles in movies like this. And it was mainly due to another dwarf actor, which I think he really should not have said anything, and that was Peter Dinklage. But for my rating of this movie, I originally had given it a different rating, but in this video, I'm going to give it the same rating that my good friend Matthew Davis Media gave the movie, and that is a 2 out of 5. Yeah. So, based on everything that's happened, I feel like this will end up probably being my worst movie of the year. Hopefully that's the case, but it feels like it will be, because a lot of the other movies coming out this year, I'm probably not going to like as much as I want to, but I already have a feeling of what movies I'm going to put on the worst and the best films of the year list. So, anyways, that's all for now, and I will see all of you guys in the next video.